Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted first to thank, of course, Curtis, the media here assembled. Wanted to provide as much of an update as we can on Jaquavius Richmond, student athlete who was injured during the second half of last Saturday's ball game in Baton Rouge. I will be taking questions, obviously, due to the nature of the injury. For some things, we will not be able to go into specifics, and so I'll answer them as best as I can. Saturday night, obviously, quarter three, I believe it was a punt. Fourth quarter, I believe there was a special teams play, a punt return, or a punt, I cannot remember. Jaquavius looks like he collided with a teammate. He was, of course, at that point, needed first aid assistance for a brief period. There was some loss of feeling in his limbs, which before he was carted off, he regained all except with the exception of his right leg. There was obviously a bit of some concern, and still is, for Jaquavius and his health as it relates to obviously him regaining that feeling in his lower legs and lower extremities. There was a follow-up with a surgical procedure yesterday morning about 9 o'clock. I was there with him. My staff, Taylor Stewart, our chief of staff, was with us as well. Tarina Marshall, our athletic trainer, was there along with his immediate family. And so all indications now, after the surgical procedure has concluded, I'm happy to report that he has gained or regained the use of feeling in all of his extremities and is doing very well at this point. I do want to and would be remiss if I didn't thank the following people. Obviously, my leader and my president, Rick Gallo, our Grambling State University in Oshner, Louisiana, partners on the sports medicine side, the sports medicine and the athletic training professionals at Louisiana State University, President Bill Tate, and Athletic Director Scott Woodward, who visited with us and with Jaquavius personally that Saturday night at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center in Baton Rouge. I'll stop there and answer any questions at this time, if there are any.
The exact diagnosis that Richmond had?
I do, but just out of respect for the family, I want them to be able to communicate that information. But the good thing is he is doing well. And I've had this conversation with a few of my colleagues and even the president, over the weekend. In 2015, I was personally impacted with a student athlete in a similar situation, Devon Gales at the University of Georgia. And so, being able to retrace these steps and really understand how fortunate and blessed Jaquavius is after undergoing, quite an impactful injury, it's a blessing in and of itself. And so without going into the specifics, it was a head and neck injury. But again, we're happy to report that he has regained full function in his lower extremities and is in doing quite well with his upper extremities as well. Surgery went well. It was about a 4-hour procedure. Started yesterday early morning, about 8 o'clock. They were done right afternoon. Obviously, there was a period of rest and recovery, and I had an opportunity to visit with him before hitting the road to come back up here yesterday at about 3 p.m. He and his family, and he's in great spirits. He and I had a conversation. He wants everybody, to know that he's doing well. Very spiritual kid, very grounded in his spirituality. He took the time, and we all should thank God for God's favor and God's blessings over Jaquavius and what he's been able to overcome through this experience. And he wanted me to relay that, and I want to do that at this time.
Before this, did you have any prior, relationship with him? What was your connection? Did you have a chance to meet at all beforehand?
Well, we have a relationship with all of our student athletes, which is, why we try to be present, at not just practices, but, on campus and in the dining hall and student in the study hall area, if they're moving about the facility, we try to develop a relationship with all of our student athletes, and Jaquavis is no different. We did have a relationship through that interaction, and so when, I saw him and he saw me in that initial meeting when we got to the hospital, it was a private meeting between he and I, and a great conversation. Where I got an opportunity to just reassert and reaffirm to him that he was going to be in good shape and great hands with the medical staff that have been taking care of him throughout that process.
Has he been discharged, or is he still there?
Hasn't been discharged. He actually started respiratory therapy last evening. He's started physical therapy this morning. He's doing very well. I can't reiterate enough, how fortunate this is, having gone through this before, again, at a previous institution in a previous situation. And so I'm thinking that without having all the information present, we're looking at maybe another week, before possibly being discharged. Obviously, there's some respiratory therapy, there's some inpatient physical therapy that has to take place before releasing and discharging him at that time.
If there are no further questions, we thank Dr. Tragan Scott for his opening statement.
Thank you.
Leave. I'll see you downstairs. Go ahead.
Give us an opening statement about your thoughts following the LSU game and heading into the Florida Memorial game.
My thoughts following the LSU game, obviously we didn't have the result that we wanted, but I thought our guys battled extremely hard, played as well as we could. Unfortunate, we lost one of our student athletes in battle. Dr. Scott gave a report on that, so I don't have to go into any further detail about that. But he'll be missed. He's a very popular player on our football team, so that was unfortunate. But it was a great experience for our football team to go into Death Valley and compete. We see where we need to get better, where we need to grow as a football team. That was obvious, and we're looking forward to our next contest.
You mentioned you didn't get the outcome that you wanted, but what does that first quarter, I guess, say about this team?
That we can compete. We feel like we can compete with anybody. We just got to sustain it, for more than one quarter. Games are 4 quarters, and so we got to continue to grow that way, and I think we will.
You mentioned again Miles. Another solid game for him passing. I guess last year the passing game, obviously some ups and downs. Like to see a quarterback through 2 games kind of develop in this system and earn that starting job. Like, what have you been most impressed with this game?
That he's done a good job of taking care of the football. Even though there was a turnover, that was a drop pass. And so he's done a really good job of spreading the ball around and getting everybody involved. And I think that's really important as we start this journey, on the back half of this towards our conference schedule, because we're going to need everybody to play well for us on offense in order to have a chance to do what we intend to do.
Coach, can you speak to Chance Williams' performance? 7 carries, 106 yards. What do you think of his performance?
He did extremely well, but me knowing Chance, he's going to thank the linemen and the receivers for blocking downfield. But he's a talented player in our system. He's the first running back I visited when I became head coach here. And I knew he was going to be special. I think we're just starting to see the best of Chance.
Playing a team like LSU, obviously one of the best in the nation, how does that prepare you for the rest of your schedule?
Oh, well, again, we get to see where we are, and obviously, like I said earlier, there's some things we know we have to grow from that game. But at the same time, there was a time there where we felt like, hey, we're in this game and competing at a very high level. And I think all of our players know that we left a lot out there, so that was good to see. But I think it'll help us. There's be some great lessons from this game that will help us through this season.
Looking forward to Florida Memorial, what do you feel like they do the best?
Well, obviously, they're another football team that's on our schedule. They can score. They've demonstrated that. They play defense. Again, they're going to put 11 out there, and we're going to put 11 out there. So anytime you're playing against anybody that's going to be on a field, anything can happen. So they're a team that can make plays all over the field, and we got to do everything we can to get them stopped.
Starting the season 0-2, coming in your last non-conference game? You kind of feel like this is a must-win in a way.
I don't look at anything as a must-win. I mean, we want to win them all if we can, right? So we're looking forward to playing and being at home. I think that's the most important thing in front of our fans. Making sure that we're in our process here with our fans and all the administration, all the people that support us, our families, and those things. And let's see if we can get a win here at home.
Yeah, Coach, committing 13 penalties against LSU for 100 yards. Do you think that kind of played a big part in what changed the game?
Oh, absolutely. It plays a big factor. I think our football discipline is something we've talked about as a football team that we know we need to get better at. And that's really important as we play this game this week. I think we had 10 penalties the first game. Now you have 13. So it's something we've definitely talked about as a team.
Good afternoon.
I know Coach said, at the LSU game, just on paper, it was just another game. But, obviously for a lot of guys, playing in Death Valley for the first time, the performance you had, I guess just, what do you feel like you got out of that performance? And just what do you feel like that can continue, going forward for you?
I feel like it was a statement game for me. I'm from Baton Rouge. I always wanted to play in Death Valley. I played against a lot of them guys, so it was just, I just had to push forward and conquer, do everything, have football discipline like Coach Jackson said.
What do you think of your own individual performance on Saturday? I mean, obviously you were a big part of that field position with those 7 carries, 106 yards. Just tell me, kind of reflecting on yourself, what do you think?
I was just focusing on doing the right thing, doing everything my coaches tell us to do. I was just telling my linemen to do everything right. Just give me a crease and I'll make the big play.
Did you see your confidence, skyrocket? Rushing
Yes, sir.
for over on 7 carries, over 100 yards against an SEC defense that's nationally ranked.
Right. It was just it was shocking. I had a lot of texts and calls, but I know what I can do. I just want to show the world what I can do, make a statement. We just have to keep up the efficiency, do better. That's about it.
How do you feel about that performance heading into next week at home against Florida Memorial?
I talked to a lot of teammates like Miles Crowley and Lennon Rash, and they just telling me, we know what you could do now, so we can't take no more L's. Just got to keep going forward.
Yeah, speaking about Miles Crawley, playing right next to him, he's been having 2 great games. How's it been playing right next to him?
It all starts off with practice. He's a great vocal leader. He do everything right on and off the field, and he just keeps us going. And Coach Tony Hall offense, they try to get the playmakers in open field like Floyd Chalk and Antonio Jones. So Miles Crowley just have a great way to calm everybody down, make sure everybody take a deep breath and just do the right thing.
Looking forward to Florida Memorial. What do you feel like they do the best, or what do you see for them on tape?
That nice team, they fly to the ball, but we just got to execute them and do everything 10 times better, be 100 steps ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Obviously, you're from Baton Rouge, so last week you're in your hometown. This week you're finally at home in your own, turf. What are you most looking forward to, finally opening up your season at home? I mean, you've already gone 2 games away, so being in your own home field.
It's a blessing. Usually Grambling don't have home games this early in the year, so we get to show the crowd, what they've been waiting for with this explosive offense, and hopefully we come out with the W.
Yeah, I guess just coming back home here, what do you feel like it'll take for you guys to come out with your first win?
I feel like it all goes back to us being disciplined. I feel like as long as we discipline and do what the coaches ask us to do, I feel like the game will take care of itself.
Penalties were mentioned a little bit ago too. I guess what do you feel like maybe changed after that first quarter for you guys last Saturday?
I feel like everybody was just so anxious. Like you say, Miles Crawley, he does a good job of calming us down, but I feel like the first quarter everybody was locked in and just ready to play. But I feel like as the game got on, like kept going on, I feel like everybody just kept getting anxious and just had to just calm down. And I feel like it's been good for us.
Many athletes, would kill to play in an environment like that in Death Valley. What did you feel, playing in that field, having that performance, and just the emotions you felt playing on the big stage?
I'm from Louisiana too, so that was always a dream playing in Death Valley, and it was a good experience. The crowd was amazing, and I felt nothing but adrenaline, and I just had to trust what my coach was calling, just trust the call, and the plays just came.
You have a chip on your shoulder heading into that game. You had a great performance. Kind of showing that you could play with these SEC athletes.
I would say I have a chip on my shoulder, but I just make sure that everybody does what they're supposed to do, and I just trust my coach and I just trust what he's calling. So I feel like as long as I do what my coach calls and I just trust the play, I feel like the plays will just come for itself.
Yeah, looking forward to Florida Memorial. What do you see from them on tape?
They like to throw the ball, so I feel like we need to do a good job covering. I feel like our D lineman is gonna do a good job getting home, getting to the quarterback. So I feel like we just gotta make sure we hold our weight in the back end, and I feel like we'll be fine.
Coach Jackson said this isn't a must-win, but do you guys feel kind of pressure, heading into conference play to at least get one win under your belt?
I really don't feel the pressure, just like Coach Jackson say. I mean, we try to win every game. We try to win every week. So I just feel like we just got to take it one game at a time. We just let each game take care of itself, and then we'll be fine.